Welcome to the Fuzz, where we envision the ideas we'll all be buzzing about in the future.
The Fuzz.
In the future.
What will dogs look like?
In the future.
Will podcasts still exist?
In the future.
Will computers take over?
In the future.
What will music sound like?
In the future.
People still wear shoes?
In the future.
What will advertising be like?
In the future.
Will we have computer chips in our brains?
In the future.
Will everyone in the world speak the same language?
In the future.
Will we be ultimately free to float about the universe?
In the future.
The Fuzz starts now. The Fuzz.
While the things we talk about on this podcast might seem impossible or even slightly insane, so did locomotives, hovercrafts, and segways at one point. And look where we are now.
On today's episode, we're talking about public transportation. That's right, just like the hovercraft.
One of the classic forms of public transportation. I mean, huge missed opportunity, right? If we're talking about the past,
I wish we had more hovercrafts.
it's all we really ever needed.
It doesn't stop very well, if I remember correctly, but
Stopping is overrated. It's got like a cushiony bottom, right? You can bump into things.
it's a balloon bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a balloony bottom. You can like bump into things without doing a lot of damage. So it should just be all hovercrafts.
Yeah, hovercrafts all the time. So we chose public transportation as opposed to electric cars. That kind of transportation we'll save for another episode.
Yeah, this is stuff that we're using together communally. Your buses, your trains, your subways, your planes, collectively the things we use together.
Let's talk a little bit about our ideas. What do you think? Let's do it. We jump right in. You know, this is what the Fuzz is all about. It's no fluff. So but here's what I'm thinking.
All right, go.
All right. I'm actually going to start naming my innovations, my inventions of the future, my buzz
I
for
like
the
that.
future.
Okay.
I'm going to call it body porters.
Body porters?
We've talked about transporting. Imagine your Star Trek universe on television, in movies. Transporters, but we'll call them body porters. And I'll tell you why I'm calling it a body porter in a second. It would be like a ring that you step into and transport to a predefined destination. My thought is that public transporters would be cheaper than having a personal transporter. So you might have an individual personal transporter in your home, potentially, but you'd have to be probably wealthier. So public transporters, just like any other transportation, would be more economical for the average person. You'd have to go to like a train station type of place. You know, you buy a ticket and then you'd, just like you're stepping in onto a train, you'd be stepping through this ring and it would be a predefined location and instant materialization to the place you want to go. But essentially, almost like Stargate, there has to be a portal at the other location. So you can't just like transport into someone's home. They don't have a body porter.
An entry point and an exit point, basically.
Yeah. So this is where I get into on the other side of what I call a mind porter. Mind porters. This is the slogan. Be there without physically being there. Your mind goes in, your body stays. This is not like the metaverse. Let's just say in the future, they stumble on a way to harness the power of astral projection, like out of body experience. Right?
Yeah. You're mentally there, but your body is not there.
Right. Hence the name Mind Porters. It's brought to you by the Porter Companies.
Portacorp.
Portacorp. Theportercompanies.com. Go there now. I'm sure you'll see something related to Speaking Human. So doing this as a form of public transportation, you'd probably go to a location, like a depot, buy a ticket, and you'd transport to another location, right? I sort of envision it like maybe you take a pill to help you with this astral projection or something, and then they put you in a rubberized suit that fills up with this jello-like substance. Okay?
Yeah.
That suit allows you to feel. And since the astral plane is through the mind, you need this physical presence. And so there would be these humanoid bodies in places all around the world that would allow you to link up to them through their mind port. That way you can physically be in that place. You could touch things and experience things as if you were really there. You following me?
I'm trying to keep up, but I think I am following you.
So that's my idea. Mind and body porters, brought to you by the Porter Companies.
Those are good. Those are real good. I really like you went to the mind, which is kind of like a realm I didn't even think to go to. I was like attached to the physical world, mostly because I was thinking, there's some metaverse stuff. I was like, but yeah, people would probably do that privately for the most part. But I like that you went to the mind and traveling that way, that kind of out of body experience, making that a form of public transportation is pretty interesting. I think that was kind of an advanced way of thinking that I didn't even think to go in that kind of direction.
Yeah, there's a lot of leaps how to harness the power of astral projection or whatever. Could that happen? Maybe creating a mind link to a humanoid somewhere else. Maybe that's more achievable.
Yeah, we're not bound by feasibility on this show.
Right.
We're just thinking of what's going to be happening in the future, right?
Yeah, and like we say, slightly insane. That's the point.
But still possible. So I had a similar thought. I was like, teleportation, most of the time we do think about it is everybody's going to have this in their home. But I thought, no, it's probably, not everybody's going to be able to afford it, because if it does exist, super expensive. It'll probably be limited to the rich.
Yeah.
But they will have access to it. And my thought was kind of similar to yours. Like, if this becomes a thing and everybody's using this, and say this becomes the primary even form of transportation, maybe, old bus depots, train stations and stuff like that become the place where the masses are doing it, together, getting teleported at one time to the same place. And I kind of went along the same thinking you were, that rather than pick where they're going, it's okay. You want to go kind of like flights, you get what's available at the times that are available, and you take what you're getting for the money you're paying. Which
makes it more feasible, right? One large mass, and then I come out the other side as one large mass.
Yeah, we're like a big pile of goo at the other side.
Like, oh my God, it's like The Blob, the old scary movie. It makes sense.
It does, because honestly, teleportation comes around, say it becomes like mass popularity over the years. What do you need everything else for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why am I still getting on a bus? And I'm sure some people would still want to like drive a car for fun or something like that, or, ride a plane occasionally, but trips on planes and buses and subways seems like it would be pretty inefficient when you have this tool that could just move people there in an instant.
Yeah, it's just like every other form of transportation in history, right? We were just talking about before the show, the Wild West, and people who are traveling the Oregon Trail, and they were traveling in groups by carriage, horse and carriage, when at some points in history, there were trains, and they could have taken the train, but the train was very expensive. So they had to take the more dangerous route of going by horse and carriage to the same place. So, there's always going to be those times where in public transportation, one thing is going to be obviously more expensive than the other until it becomes so normalized, and a way for them to make it so efficient, the cost comes down and the average person can afford it.
Yeah. And then at that point, the old thing mostly gets phased out.
Yeah.
Hitting on some other things. So teleportation was, as far as I went, I didn't go as far as the mind or anything like that. And then on kind of like, the near future end, I was like, well, what's the simplest thing that could happen? You'd have like really fast trains that would be like a coordinated system across states, maybe across continents. People have been talking about that, but even something that would get faster and faster. So taking that to the next level, what's another way we could get something like that? What's another way we could get places faster, knowing that, our roadways are already congested? I was thinking you have two ways to go with that, right? You're going up or you're going down. So I was thinking, maybe we could use both of those. Trying to think of names now because you've given things names. So both of these things follow kind of similar principles, but they're just doing it in different ways. One option, we've got the underground method, worm tubes.
Worm tubes.
Basically, super fast, tubes. You're shooting a pod into a tube, like a ping pong ball through like a paper towel, through tunnels inside the earth. So maybe you can get across the world. You know, maybe these things are going like thousands of miles per hour.
Yeah.
You could even get like across the earth in no time at all. Or, you know, they have these different tubes cut out. Are you burning alive? We don't know. They figured this out. Don't worry about it. So, you know, you can get through these worm tubes, which are either across the crust here, directly through, diagonal, all sorts of different ways they have, whichever, you know, whatever kind of agreements are reached between nations to get these things developed. But you're whipping through these things, getting to fairly far away places. I don't know if you'd take a worm tube to get across the city. I think you're moving a fairly large distance. If you're going like 1,000 miles an hour, they're probably not going to drop you off 20 miles away.
Maybe because you're getting close to the Earth's core, you're using the energy of the Earth to shoot you faster through this thing.
Well, that's good.
Right? Here's an idea. Wormhole.
Are you saying that as a naming idea or an actual idea as a transportation idea?
Well, wormhole in its concept is a lot like a transporter in a way, right? It's kind of the same thing. It's like you're folding space and time, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. But I'm thinking for the naming of your subterranean worm tubes, it could be wormhole because it's kind of doing that. That'd be like a cool name for it because people get the idea of a wormhole from like space travel and stuff.
Yeah, it sounds a little more sci-fi-esque. People would rather get in a hole than a tube. I don't know.
We could do a survey on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but I really like that. Like a subway, but only faster.
A supercharged subway. Subway's, you know, more local. This is taking you beyond local.
Yeah. I wonder if that's in that direction now with, what's his face? Musk's Boring Company, right?
It's kind of in that same realm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's wormholes. That's underground.
Okay.
Then, you know, the other option you have is you can go up. You go over what we've already created. This is kind of, you know, there's the future movies always promised us, which is kind of like Airbuses and taxis, like The Fifth Element. Everything's kind of flying around above us. That seemed to me like it would always get crowded, hard to regulate. So I'm going to propose something slightly different. I'm talking about the space shot. This would be kind of like you take something, you shoot it up into space, it redirects you where you want to go and like shoots you back down. So lightning fast up, you get to your depot or whatever real quick. And then it's like, okay, here's your destination, shoot you back down to the station, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Not a straight line, but it's going to happen real fast. Again, not the best if you're going across town. It's probably not what you're going to ride to get there. But if you're, you know, trying to go from the East Coast to California, it'd be a cool way to get there. Or traveling across continents, be a cool way to get there and get there real fast.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think in any of those ideas of super fast travel, they're going to have to create something like a pill or something, right? That you're going to have to take, like Dramamine people take before they get on a boat.
Anti-motion sickness, something like that.
Yeah.
Or are you thinking something to just knock you out?
Some people might need that. Unless they could figure out an enclosure that you don't feel the speed and the velocity that you're going, right? Because how do you do this without also making people throw up?
You don't want 10,000 people barfing at once. Give them something so you don't feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine with any of these things, teleportation, that can't feel good, right? We're not meant to do that.
Maybe it feels real good. Who knows?
Well, if they could figure out a way to do it, it's like ecstasy.
People will be addicted to teleporting.
Give me one more hit.
Here's what's great. Listen, I thought about this, like the porter idea, theportercompanies.com. Because a porter is someone who's been employed to carry luggage and other loads, especially in a railroad station, airport, hotel. There is a porter. A porter helps carry these things. So you're carrying a person between two places, right? These people. So you're a porter.
Yeah. Do you feel like at all when you say body porter, it makes you think of somebody like transporting a dead body?
Yeah, probably should have thought about that. Human porters,
Living body porters?
living body porters,
Pulse porters?
pulse porters. That's going to be hard to
Do
say.
you have a pulse?
Welcome to Pulse Porters. Where would you like to go this weekend, Mr. Smith? I'd like to go to,
Nantucket.
yeah. There's no porters there, sir.
It's the one place without porters.
So the naming, the branding of these could use a little work.
People listening might have better ideas. I think it's possible, but public transportation is interesting. Where's that going to go in this world where everything is so private? So thinking of like physical travel and doing it publicly with the community and groups of other people. It's a tough one to tackle. So I'm interested. Maybe there's some experts out there who can share where it's really going, where it's really going to be in 50 or 100 years.
Yeah, we'd be interested in that. Just like anything else, what is the next stage? You know, the public form of transportation, how do you make that better? And the best way is to make it quicker, which is kind of why we went all the way to teleportation.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, quicker is where you immediately go. People want to get places faster. We didn't really hit on like self-driving, like get on a bus and nobody's driving it. It's just going.
Yeah.
I could see that being the future. I don't know that has a good benefit unless somebody's getting somewhere quicker or easier. What's the actual benefit of that?
Yeah. If you've got some feedback for us and maybe even some of your own opinions on the future of public transportation, feel free to send us an email, feedback@speakinghuman.com. That's all for this episode of The Fuzz. Tune in next time for more of tomorrow's buzz today.
Will food still taste good?
Is that about the future?